G'day guys, JB here with the off-season finally upon us and another 82-game season finally out of the way with no COVID hiccups, with no bubble, a full 82 games. I think it's time that I release formally my 50 greatest NBA players of all time. Some of you will agree, some of you will disagree, some will be surprised by some rankings, some won't be so surprised by some rankings, but I think you'll enjoy it. So sit back, relax, if you can in fact relax listening to lists and the sounds of my voice, and get ready for my 50 greatest NBA players of all time. At number 50, Elvin Hayes. Played 1968-69 to 1983-84. Career resume: one-time NBA champion, three-time All-NBA first-team selection, three-time All-NBA second-team selection, two-time All-Defensive second-team selection, a 12-time All-Star selection, a one-time scoring champion, a two-time rebounding champion, and an All-Rookie first-team member. Elvin Hayes finished top 10 in MVP voting 6 times, top 5 in MVP voting 3 times, and finished third in MVP voting twice. In the regular season, he played 1,303 games at 38.5 minutes per game, averaging 21 points per game, 12.5 rebounds per game, 1.8 assists per game, 1 steal per game, 2 blocks per game, 2.4 turnovers per game, shot 45.2% from the field, 14.7% from 3, and 67% from the free throw line. In the playoffs, through 96 games, he played 43.3 minutes per game, averaging 22.9 points per game, 13 rebounds per game, 1.9 assists per game, 1.1 steals per game, 2.6 blocks per game, 2.8 turnovers per game, shot 46.4% from the field, did not make a three-point shot in the playoffs, and averaged 65.2% from the free throw line. In the NBA Finals, he played 16 games, averaging 40.1 minutes per game, averaged 20.5 points per game, 11.6 rebounds per game, 1.4 assists per game, 1.2 steals per game, 2.2 blocks per game, 2.5 turnovers, shot 43.7% from the field. At no point was the three-point line available in his NBA Finals games, and shot 65.4% from the free throw line. In an era where the big man played down low on the block to score all of their points, Elvin Hayes bucked the trend to play what is best known in the modern game as a stretch four. While many are credited as the original stretch four in basketball, no one had mastered it as well as Elvin Hayes did prior to the implementation of the three-point line. Standing 6'9", Hayes stood out against the traditional big men of his era by scoring a majority of his 27,313 points from outside the paint. A leader through the majority of his prime and a fan favourite of the 1970s, a championship ring after a decade in the league would prove to be the pinnacle for Hayes, who many feel was among the best players of his time to never be awarded the MVP award. While some cite the difficult nature of Hayes brought to the locker room as the ultimate reason for less success, the greatness of Elvin Hayes is undeniable. Drafted as the first pick of the 1968 draft to the then San Diego Rockets, Hayes' rookie campaign may be the most underrated first-year campaign in league history. Having been the captain and the leader of the famous Houston Cougars team that ended the famed UCLA winning streak, the Big E entered pro basketball with a mountain of expectation that it would play a key role for the next generation of the NBA as the famed Boston dynasty ended. Those expectations would be met almost immediately, leading the league in scoring with 28.4 points per game to go with 17.1 rebounds per game. Hayes earned All-Star as well as All-Rookie first-team honours, and likely would have won Rookie of the Year in 95% of every other season if it wasn't for the Rookie of the Year and MVP efforts of Wes Unseld. Both Hayes and Unseld would remain intertwined for the remainder of their career, culminating in championship success as teammates in 1978 for the Washington Bullets. Much like their rookie campaign, Hayes would finish bridesmaid to Unseld in the chase for Finals MVP. Many cite that Unseld's team record was a major factor in his MVP and Rookie of the Year award win, the Bullets finishing with a 57-25 record compared to the Rockets' 37-45. But it should be noted that players voted for the MVP award through to the end of the 1979-80 season, and the Bullets' record improved by 21 wins with the inclusion of Unseld. Hayes, to his credit, would finish top 10 in MVP voting 6 times, top 5 in MVP voting 3 times, and finish third twice, but his pursuit of the MVP award would ultimately be thwarted by other all-time big men in Willis Reed, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Dave Cowens, Bob McAdoo, Bill Walton, and Moses Malone. As for the Finals MVP in 1978, many cite the inside presence that Unseld both demanded and held off, as well as his long-time service to the Bullets organisation, as the deciding factors in his selection as the MVP of the series. However, if you are browsing over the game-by-game statistics and series summary, it's hard to deny that the best player in the series was not Elvin Hayes. Hayes led the Bullets in scoring, rebounding and shot blocking, as well as shooting 48% from the field, and led the entire series overall in scoring. Meanwhile, Unseld's 9 points per game, 11.7 rebounds per game, 3.9 assists per game on 52% shooting was seen as enough to garner the award. A 12-time All-Star, Hayes would consistently prove to be a lethal offensive threat in each of those 12 seasons, as he averaged no less than 21 points per game every year of his All-Star campaign, besides that championship year of 1977-78. Such was his production during that time frame, he was one of 2 players to score 23,000 points, with only Kareem Abdul-Jabbar scoring more points than Hayes during this time. Hayes sits 11th all-time in scoring, and at the time of his retirement at the end of the 1983-84 season, sat 3rd all-time in career points behind only Kareem and Wilt Chamberlain. As well as a league-leading scorer, Hayes' ability to grab rebounds and rim protect despite his outside-inside scoring mentality cannot be denied. His season-leading averages of 16.9 rebounds per game in 1969-70 and 18.1 rebounds per game in 1973-74 saw him become the first person not named Wilt Chamberlain or Bill Russell to lead the league on the glass since Maurice Stokes back in 1955-56. His 12-year All-Star run from 1968-69 to 1979-80 saw him accumulate a per-game average of 14.2 rebounds for a total of 13,867, more than any other player during this time. Despite retiring close to 39 seasons ago, Hayes' career total of 16,279 rebounds still sits him 4th all-time, ahead of other legendary power forwards Tim Duncan, Karl Malone and Kevin Garnett. Despite not being known as a defender with just 2 all-defensive second-team selections, Hayes was still able to be serviceable on the opposite end of the floor. While footage of the league is scarce through the early part of the 1970s, back when the league showed finals games on delay, defensive statistics were not tracked until 1973-74. Hayes averaged 1 steal and 2 blocks a game for his career from that point, peaking out at 1.9 steals per game in 1974-75 and 3 blocks in 1973-74. For some comparison, Anthony Davis is the only player to at least average 2 blocks and 1 steal a game for the last 5 seasons, those seasons being from 2017-18 to 21-22. But arguably, the most underrated aspect of Hayes' career was his durability. In his 16 seasons, Hayes missed a total of 9 games, played 80 games in each season, and played in all 82 games 8 times, making him one of just 16 players to ever do so. Elvin Hayes is a member of the Basketball Hall of Fame, was selected to the NBA's 50th and 75th anniversary teams, and his number 11 is retired by Washington. At number 49, Nikola Jokic, active since 2015-16, a 2-time MVP winner, 3-time All-NBA first-team selection, 1-time All-NBA second-team selection, 4-time All-Star selection, All-Rookie first-team selection. Finished top 10 in MVP voting 4 times, top 5 in MVP voting 3 times, and as previously mentioned, a 2-time MVP winner. In the regular season, he has played 527 games, averaging 30.4 minutes per game. He's averaged 19.7 points per game, 10.4 rebounds per game, 6.2 assists per game, 1.2 steals per game, and 0.7 blocks per game on 2.8 turnovers per game. He has shot 54.2% from the field, 34.5% from three, and 83% from the free throw line. In the playoffs, he's played 48 games, averaging 36.8 minutes per game. He has averaged 26.4 points per game, 11.5 rebounds per game, 6.4 assists per game, 1 steal per game, 0.9 blocks per game, and 3 turnovers per game. He has shot 51.9% from the field, 39.6% from three, and 84.1% from the free throw line. The Joker enters the upper echelon of all-time NBA talent thanks to 2 hugely efficient back-to-back MVP seasons. In modern basketball, advanced statistics have become the defining metrics for any player at any position, allowing for most basketball fans to pursue many comparative arguments between players who may not directly match up, but play the lead role for their squads. While flawed, these advanced metrics provide a reasonable indication of a player's efficiency, as well as their impact of the game, whether they are on the floor or off the floor. While the eye test certainly doesn't scream of an aesthetically pleasing player, Nikola Jokic in 2020-21 and 2021-22 became just the 3rd player to ever post consecutive MVP seasons with a player efficiency rating, PER, of 30 or more, joining LeBron James and Giannis Antetokounmpo. Hailing from Serbia, Nikola Jokic was taken in the middle of a commercial break of the 2014 NBA draft with the 11th pick of the second round, 41st overall pick. In a draft that included the likes of Andrew Wiggins, Joel Embiid, Marcus Smart, Julius Randle and Zach LaVine, the European big man selected on the news ticker during a Taco Bell commercial was the very last person anyone would have thought would assert themselves as the best player of their draft. Standing 6'11" and by no means the definition of athletic perfection, Jokic has managed to utilise his sublime basketball IQ to carve out a legacy that, if it ended today, would see him enter the Basketball Hall of Fame as a first ballot member. No great foot speed, a defensive liability, lacking in leaping ability, and generally looking big in a bad way, Jokic has mastered the game of basketball by scoring efficiently from all areas of the floor, using his size to an advantage on the glass and offering up a passing game in a big man that, when it is all said and done, may be the best of any centre to ever play pro basketball. After placing 3rd in the 2015-16 Rookie of the Year behind Karl Anthony Towns and Kristaps Porzingis, Jokic steadily improved on a growing Denver squad that was starting to shape a young core to contend in the years to come. Emerging as the man at only 22 years of age, the Joker would help lead Denver to a 46-36 record in just his 3rd season in 2017-18 and looked set to make his playoff debut. However, they would join the 2013-14 Suns with a record of 48-34, the 2008-9 Suns with a record of 46-36, and the 2007-8 Warriors with a record of 48-34, as the only teams in the 21st century to win 46 games or more and miss the postseason. Motivated by this fact and continuing to show growth in his game, Jokic would again be the catalyst for the Nuggets' growing success, entering the magic big man area of 20 points per game and 10 rebounds per game, en route to his first of his now 4 consecutive All-Star selections. Adding in a touch over 7 assists per contest, Serbian sensation would be selected at centre in the All-NBA first team, becoming the 2nd centre ever to average at least 20 points, 10 rebounds and 7 assists from the middle, behind Wilt Chamberlain. Making his playoff debut following an enormous 2018-19, Jokic would battle San Antonio for 7 games before advancing to the second round. A true test of a player is their ability to step up when the lights are at their brightest. His first ever series saw him average 23.1 points per game, 12.1 rebounds per game, and 9.1 assists per game, including a massive 42-point, 12-rebound, 9-assist effort in a Game 6 defeat, followed by a 21-point triple-double in a Game 7 victory. The second round saw the Nuggets go down in 7 to the Portland Trail Blazers, but only after Jokic posted 27.1 points per game, 13.9 rebounds per game, and 7.7 assists per game, including back-to-back triple-doubles in Games 3 and 4. Overall, playoff debut of 25 points per game, a playoff-leading 13 rebounds per game, to go with 8.4 assists per game, showed that Jokic was going to be a headache for years to come. A drop in production in 2019-20 saw Jokic dip below that magical 20 points and 10 rebounds a game, and he still remained an all-star though as COVID began to shape the league. With the Nuggets in the playoffs, Denver became the only team to ever erase 2 separate 3-1 series deficits in a single playoff run, en route to a Western Conference final defeat at the hands of the eventual champion Los Angeles Lakers. To this point, there was no question this was Jokic's finest hour. With the bubble Orlando now nothing but a bad memory, Jokic began his quest to the top of the league. Playing all 72 games of 2020-21, the big man from the Mile High City would receive the ultimate individual honour of League MVP, bolstering his reputation following his role in Denver's historical bubble playoff run the season prior. Despite a second-round exit at the hands of the eventual NBA finalists, the Phoenix Suns, Jokic showed why he was the heart and soul of the Nuggets, averaging 29.8 points, 11.6 rebounds, and 5 assists contests throughout his playoff campaign, including becoming just the third player in NBA playoff history with a game of at least 30 points, 20 rebounds, and 10 assists in Game 3 versus Phoenix. The other centres to have ever done this being Wilt Chamberlain and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. With many asking if Jokic could improve upon his 2020-21 season, he showed that he was more than capable, with both his second and third scoring options missing most of the season in Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. The Joker set the all-time single-season PER record of 32.8 as he led Denver to a 48-34 record and earned his second consecutive MVP award. Posting 27.1 points per game, 13.9 rebounds per game, and 7.9 assists per game, Jokic delivered one of the great individual seasons of the 21st century and has many wondering what Denver can do going forward if they remain healthy. At number 48, Wes Unseld. Played 1968-69 to 1980-81. One-time NBA champion, a one-time Finals MVP, a one-time League MVP, a one-time All-NBA first-team selection, a 5-time All-Star selection, a one-time rebounding champion, and an All-Rookie first-team selection. Finished top 10 in MVP voting 3 times, and as previously mentioned, a one-time League MVP. In the regular season, he played 984 games, averaging 36.4 minutes per game. He averaged 10.8 points per game, 14 rebounds per game, 3.9 assists per game, or 1.1 steals per game, 0.6 blocks per game, and 1.9 turnovers per game. He shot 50.9% from the field, shot 50% from 3 from available data, and shot 63.3% from the free throw line. In the playoffs, he played 119 games, averaging 41.1 minutes per game. He averaged 10.6 points per game, 14.9 rebounds per game, 3.8 assists per game, 0.8 steals per game, 0.7 blocks per game, and 1.8 turnovers per game. He shot 49.3% from the field. He did not make a three-pointer in his playoff career and shot 60.8% from the free throw line. In the NBA Finals, he played 20 games, averaging 41.3 minutes per game. He averaged 11.4 points per game, 14.1 rebounds per game, 4.1 assists per game, 0.9 steals per game, 0.5 blocks per game, and 1.3 turnovers per game on available data. He shot 47.2% from the field. There was no three-point line in his NBA Finals career, and he shot 59.2% from the free throw line. Not many people in the history of the NBA can say that if they had only played in their rookie season, that they would make the Hall of Fame. Wes Unseld is one of those few players. Known for his ability to battle on the glass despite being undersized compared to his peers, setting arguably the hardest screens in NBA history, and the master of the outlet pass, Unseld maintained a reputation as arguably the toughest player in the NBA for the length of his career as he saw the transition of the league from Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain through to Magic Johnson and Larry Bird. While many cite that the vast majority of Unseld's career essentially came from his rookie campaign, it can't be denied that the most unique NBA career ever truly showed that you can impact, dominate, and control the game without lighting up the box score. Drafted second overall in the 1968 NBA draft behind eventual NBA championship teammate Elvin Hayes, Unseld proceeded to deliver one of the 5 greatest rookie campaigns in the history of the NBA. Playing in all 82 games for the season and helping improve Baltimore's record by 21 wins, Unseld would average 13.9 points per game, 18.2 rebounds per game, and 2.6 assists per game en route to becoming just the second and last player to ever be named Rookie of the Year and League MVP. This would be the only All-NBA level season for Unseld, who would never receive even a vote for All-NBA honours for the rest of his career. With Baltimore headed to the playoffs, holding the best record in the league, the Bullets would go down in a sweep to New York and the legendary Willis Reed. Unseld would not be disappointing in his debut, averaging 18.8 points per game, 18.5 rebounds per game, 1.3 assists per game against the future MVP of the league in a display that showed he was going to cause many coaching nightmares for the decade to come. Unseld's rookie season would see him post career highs in points per game and rebounds per game. This would be the lowest assists per game for his career, as his passing game became the signature of his play style. A bruiser that stood 6'7" at the centre position, the need to score down low on the block in the land of the Giants was not going to lead down a pathway of success if the Bullets decided to build their offensive game around Unseld. Instead, they utilised his ability in every other area of the game to build a consistent contender throughout the 1970s. Helping lead the Bullets to 4 finals, no other franchise would see the championship round more throughout the decade, which saw them finally capture a title in the 1977-78 season against the Seattle Supersonics as the finals MVP. Many argue that Unseld's inability to score at a much higher rate proved to be the ultimate downfall of his career and the big reason as to why he finished with just one championship. But the Bullets team throughout his career featured stars such as Gus Johnson, Earl Monroe, Archie Clark, Phil Chenier, Kevin Porter, Dave Bing, Bob Dandridge and Elvin Hayes, all players who could score the basketball and run the offense as the focal point. Unseld's game came from the mould of Bill Russell, the ability to score when required. Unseld finished with a career field goal percentage of 50.9%, shooting over 50% in 8 of his 13 seasons, and leading the league in field goal percentage 1975-76. The ability to dominate the glass, career rebounding average of 14 per game, averaged 10 or more rebounds a game in 12 of his 13 seasons, a league-leading 14.8 rebounds per game in 1974-75, 5 seasons over 15 rebounds a game, 6th all-time in career rebounds per game, and at the time of his retirement, 6th all-time in career total rebounds, a knack to hit the open man with his passing either in the half court or on the break, and the ability to play defence as an undersized big. His play style and skill set allowed those around him to flourish, as it didn't impede or disrupt the play of anyone else. How evident is this? Unseld spent all 13 seasons of his career with the Bullets, where the team made the playoffs 12 times. Of those 12 times the Bullets made the playoffs, 10 of them saw the team finish with a record greater than 500. 5 times, the Bullets would finish with a record of 50 wins or more, and as mentioned previously, their 4 trips to the finals were more than any other team in the decade of the 1970s, the only decade in NBA history not to contain a repeat champion. The team more than flourished with Unseld contributing everywhere else but as the leading scorer. Despite this, Unseld led the Bullets in win shares 5 times in his career and remains the franchise leader for the Bullets/Wizards in win shares at 110.1. The next closest in this category is Elvin Hayes with 80.1. The argument can be made that as teammates, Hayes was the best player on the team, and the win shares agree with this: 80 for Hayes and 78.2 for Unseld. However, the following must be considered. Hayes played 2,494 more minutes, had the ball in his hands twice as often as Unseld. Hayes' usage percentage was 23.6% compared to 11.7% for Unseld, and scored 8,430 more points. Despite more time on the court, more use of the basketball, and more points on the board, Hayes didn't contribute to the team as much on an overall scale as Unseld, but was able to flourish and play his game freely thanks to the impact of Wes Unseld. Wes Unseld is a member of the Basketball Hall of Fame, was selected to the NBA's 50th and 75th anniversary teams, and his number 41 is retired in Washington. At number 47, Chris Paul, active since 2005-2006. 4-time All-NBA first-team selection, 5-time All-NBA second-team selection, 2-time All-NBA third-team selection, 7-time All-Defensive first-team selection, 2-time All-Defensive second-team selection, 12-time All-Star selection, 1-time All-Star Game MVP, 5-time assist champion, 6 times steals champion, Rookie of the Year and All-Rookie First Team Selection. Finished top 10 in MVP voting 10 times, top 5 in MVP voting 5 times, top 3 in MVP voting twice, and a one-time runner-up MVP. In the regular season, he has played 1,115 games, averaging 34.5 minutes per game, averaged 18.1 points per game, 4.5 rebounds per game, 9.5 assists per game, 2.1 steals per game, 0.1 blocks per game, and 2.4 turnovers per game. He has shot 47.3% from the field, 36.9% from three, and 87.1% from the free throw line. In the playoffs, he has played 142 games and averaged 36.6 minutes per game. He's averaged 20.4 points per game, 4.9 rebounds per game, 8.3 assists per game, 1.9 steals per game, 0.2 blocks per game, and 2.6 turnovers per game. He has shot 48.6% from the field, 37.5% from three, 85.6% from the free throw line. In the NBA Finals, he has played 6 games and averaged 37.3 minutes per game. In those 6 games, he has averaged 21.8 points per game, 2.7 rebounds per game, 8.2 assists per game, 0.7 steals per game, 0.2 blocks per game, 3.5 turnovers per game, has shot 55% from the field, 52.2% from three, and 75% from the free throw line. No point guard in NBA history has had an impact on culture change and winning records for more franchises than Chris Paul. At the time of writing, CP3 has turned the tables for teams that were never expected to compete, elevated franchises that floundered in mediocrity, and delivered results beyond expectation. Not a predominant scoring point guard that is often seen in modern basketball, Paul has maintained his traditional pure point guard role for the better part of 2 decades and elevated stars young and old to realise their potential. With nothing eluding him but a championship ring and an MVP trophy, his current team, the Phoenix Suns, in their window of opportunity to capture a championship, time will tell if the modern-day point god can get to the top of the mountain. Taken with pick 4 of the 2005 NBA draft behind Andrew Bogut, Marvin Williams and Deron Williams, CP3 headed to New Orleans and would garner all but one first-place vote en route to a Rookie of the Year win. The one vote he didn't receive went to Deron Williams, and many predicted that the battle for the best point guard of their generation would be between the two. How wrong they would be. By his 3rd season, Paul would be in the conversation with the best player on the planet, alongside Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Dwight Howard. In one of the greatest seasons by a little man ever in 2007-8, Paul would post a then career-high 21.1 points per game, a career-high and league-leading 11.6 assists per game, as well as a then career-high and league-leading 2.7 steals per game, as he led the Hornets to a 56-26 record and finished runner-up to Kobe Bryant in MVP voting. At just 22 years old, Paul led the Hornets past the Dallas Mavericks 4-1, completely outplaying legendary point guard Jason Kidd in the process, before falling in 7 games in the second round to the defending champion San Antonio Spurs. This was not before he outplayed the reigning Finals MVP Tony Parker and established himself as the best point guard in the world. Paul would increase his productivity the following year, with his points, rebounds, steals, field goal percentage and free throw percentage all growing. However, this didn't see the Hornets take the next step as they were eliminated in the playoffs in 5 games thanks to the Denver Nuggets. Paul would remain a Hornet at the end of the 2010-11 season, before heading to LA to help play his part in one of the most entertaining teams of the 21st century, Lob City. Joining forces with Blake Griffin and DeAndre Jordan, CP3 turned the floundering Clippers into genuine Western Conference threats, whilst maintaining his stature in the league as the best point guard. Through the lineage of the Clippers dating back to the Buffalo Braves in 1970-71, the franchise had only made the playoffs 7 times. In Chris Paul's 6 seasons, they made the playoffs each time. While never achieving anything more than a second-round defeat, the Chris Paul Clippers proved to be a live highlight film that had NBA fans all over trying their best to catch games live or watch every nightly highlight. After 6 seasons, Paul found himself with James Harden in Houston as the Rockets attempted to dethrone the Golden State Warriors. While not playing to an all-star level in Houston, Paul's veteran experience proved pivotal as the Rockets posted a franchise record 65 wins in 2017-18 and led the Warriors 3-2 in the Western Conference Finals until Paul suffered a hamstring strain in Game 5 and did not take the floor again in the series. The Warriors rallied to win in 7 games. Paul would return the following year for one more run, but with injuries mounting, the Rockets would depart the playoffs in the second round, and Paul would head east to Oklahoma City in a swap for Russell Westbrook. With the Thunder cleaning house, CP3 joined the team as a mentor as his career began to wind down for a franchise stacked with draft picks and inexperience. What happened was one of the most unlikely playoff berths in league history. Finishing with a 44-28 record in the lockdown COVID season and subsequent bubble, Chris Paul would see the Thunder to the first round of the playoffs and have them go up against the Houston Rockets. Eventually going down in 7 games, CP3 proved that just because a team is young and stacked with picks doesn't mean they can't compete immediately. With the bubble over, Paul headed further back west for 2020-21, joining the Phoenix Suns and the young two-guard star Devin Booker. Phoenix, under Booker, had made a late charge to attempt to secure a spot in the bubble playoffs. The question was whether they could maintain momentum. Having not made the playoffs since the Western Conference Finals of 2010, Paul would be the next level of leadership the Suns needed. Despite a 2-0 deficit to the defending champion Los Angeles Lakers, the Suns would come back to win 4-2, defeat the Denver Nuggets in a sweep, then account for the revitalised Clippers to make their first NBA Finals appearance since 1992-93. While a 2-0 lead early in the series looked set to get the Suns over the line, Milwaukee would rally to win 4-2 thanks to Giannis Antetokounmpo and his historic Finals series. Showing it was no fluke, the Suns posted a franchise record and league-leading 64-18 record in 2021-22 before being eliminated in the second round by Dallas. While many question if this level of defeat after so much success is going to prove too much, there is still plenty left in the tank for the Suns and CP3 to continue charging towards the ultimate goal of an NBA championship. Chris Paul is a member of the NBA's 75th anniversary team and will be a first ballot member of the Basketball Hall of Fame when he is eligible. At number 46, Steve Nash. Played 1996-97 to 2013-14. Two-time MVP winner, 3-time All-NBA first-team selection, 2-time All-NBA second-team selection, 2-time All-NBA third-team selection, 8-time All-Star selection, 5-time assist champion. Nash finished top 10 in MVP voting 6 times, was a runner-up on 1 occasion, and of course won 2 MVP awards. In the regular season, he played 1,217 games, averaging 31.3 minutes per game. He averaged 14.3 points per game, 3 rebounds per game, 8.5 assists per game, 0.7 steals per game, 0.1 blocks per game, 2.9 turnovers per game. He shot 49.0% from the field, 42.8% from 3, and 90.4% from the free throw line. In the playoffs, he played 120 games, averaging 35.7 minutes per game. He averaged 17.3 points per game, 3.5 rebounds per game, 8.8 assists per game, 0.6 steals per game, 0.1 blocks per game, 3.2 turnovers per game. He shot 47.3% from the field, 40.6% from deep, and 90.0% from the free throw line. Many players throughout NBA history have had rules changed during their careers to alter their play style. These handicaps proved to be negative game changes and forced players to alter the game. However, no player in NBA history has had their entire career reshaped with the implementation of rules more than Steve Nash. A small point guard with an ability to pass and shoot, Nash went from a borderline all-star to back-to-back MVP winner and runner-up MVP in 3 seasons following the complete removal of hand-checking and the initiation of the Freedom of Movement Initiative. While Nash cannot be singled out as the sole beneficiary of these rules, he can be identified as a major outlier. Drafted in the now famous 1996 draft to the Phoenix Suns, Nash's first stint with the team proved underwhelming. Unknowingly, Nash would be the next big thing for the Suns following the exit of Charles Barkley to Houston prior to the 1996 draft. However, this would not come to fruition for a decade. Not a notable member of his rookie class, the Canadian sensation would flounder until being traded to the Dallas Mavericks to play alongside Dirk Nowitzki. With two unproven prospects taking the lead for the Mavericks, both Nash and Nowitzki would develop a relationship on and off the court that saw Dallas reignite the success the club had seen in the late 1980s as perennial Western Conference playoff contenders in a challenge to the likes of the Los Angeles Lakers, San Antonio Spurs and Sacramento Kings. With both players growing, All-Star games and playoff runs slowly arose, ultimately culminating to a trip to the 2003 Western Conference Finals, where had it not been for an injury to Dirk Nowitzki, an NBA Finals appearance would have likely eventuated. With the 2003 season not panning out, Nash would make his way back to Phoenix, where a foundational blueprint squad was built to utilise pace and space. With a young core group featuring star athletic big man Amari Stoudemire, an athletic wing in Sean Marion, and eventual all-star shooting guard Joe Johnson, the run and gun, 7 seconds or less Phoenix Suns were born with Nash at the helm. As the league looked to open up the game and generate more scoring following the slowest pace in NBA history since the advent of the shot clock, the Suns utilised the removal of hand-checking, the implementation of a defensive 3-second violation, and the cutting back of off-ball contact to fully utilise the skill set of Nash. One of the biggest single-season turnarounds in NBA history, the Suns would go from a team that won less than 30 games in 2003-04 to the best team in the league as Nash posted prime point guard numbers that had not been seen since Magic Johnson. The defenders handcuffed in their ability to stay in front of Nash, limited in their ability to place a roadblock on his off-ball paths, and forced to clear out the lane or forfeit a technical free throw. The second coming of the 1996 NBA draft pick saw him garner MVP honours ahead of the Miami Heat's latest acquisition, Shaquille O'Neal. This irked fans of the game, as Nash had barely developed his game into that of a perennial all-star prior to the 04-05 season, and saw it as an exaggerated growth of his game thanks to the new defensive rules and referee interpretations. As if that wasn't enough to annoy fans of the game, the MVP result would be mirrored the next season, with Nash winning back-to-back honours. To date, many judged Nash's repeat MVP awards as the worst in league history, citing that his production in both years was not enough to beat out the likes of Shaquille O'Neal, who led the Heat to the 2005 Eastern Conference Finals, or against Dirk Nowitzki in 2006, who was the lone all-star of a Mavericks team and led them to 60 wins as well as a trip to the NBA Finals. However, the turnaround the Suns had with Nash at the point guard position was unquestionable, and his ability to average anywhere between 15 and 18 points per game, 10 assists a game, and consistently shoot 50% from the field, 40% from three-point land, and 90% from the free throw line certainly can't be questioned. Nash was the blueprint of things to come in the NBA, as today's point guards flourish on a run-and-gun style of play, searching for quick and open shots that are primarily from beyond the arc or at the cup. While not as revolutionary as the Golden State Warriors, the run-and-gun 7 seconds or less Suns showed what could be done in an era of relaxed defense and improved pace. Would the game have eventually moved in the direction it has? Most likely, but credit must be given to those who showed it could be done. This would remain the Phoenix way for the rest of the 2000s under Nash, as he consistently helped orchestrate the Suns as a genuine Western Conference contender against Tim Duncan's San Antonio Spurs and Kobe Bryant's Los Angeles Lakers. While the NBA Finals were never able to find their way to Phoenix with Nash at the point, Nash holds the record for the most playoff games without making an NBA Finals appearance. The Suns proved to be arguably the best team ever to never make the NBA Finals. Nash's career following his second run as a Sun proved disastrous in comparison to his MVP seasons. Eventually making it to Tinseltown alongside Kobe Bryant and Dwight Howard, Nash would prove all but ineffective as back injuries eventually proved to be too much. Retiring on the down low, it can't be denied that Steve Nash produced a run as the league's best point guard that many before and since could only dream about. Steve Nash is a member of the Basketball Hall of Fame, is a member of the NBA's 75th anniversary team, and his number 13 is retired in Phoenix.